AOC's running around saying, if they invite me into these red state areas, into these Republican districts, even if it's R plus 25, I'd like to come. So I put out a proposal right on the internet and I said, hey, I've got a national town hall meeting here 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. We reach into every single one of those Republican districts. Come on for an hour, except here we'll be debating you. Wow, a lot going on, don't you think? President Trump has significantly reduced the Department of Education, which, as you well know, I call the Department of No Education. You know, folks, that was created in 1979 with an executive order by Jimmy Carter because the two major teachers' unions in the country, the AFT and the NEA, wanted it. Now, why did they want it? They wanted federal mandates, federal regulations. Centralization of power gives you what? Coercion. More power. Can't have all these thousands of school districts going off and doing what they want. And then, of course, they wrap themselves in altruism. It's for the children. I mean, some towns, they don't know how to educate their kids. Randy Weingarten, I know how to educate everybody. No, she's a moron, actually. So this thing was created out of political power, power-hungry unions, public sector teachers' unions, and the Democrat Party. There used to be a federal Office of Education. That Office of Education would handle like Pell Grants, you know, the grants and that sort of thing, the statutory requirements. But what the Department of Education does, and they have like 5,000 people, what they do is they basically say, okay, we're going to pass this money on to you, but here's 17 and a half requirements. Or they'll push DEI. Or they'll demand that they teach CRT in the 1619 project. So this is why Donald Trump looks at this and he says, well, it's having an inverse effect. The more we're spending at the federal level, a $100 billion agency. Much of it's a pass-through. Why do you need the mob? You know, these big departments, they're like mobsters. We take our share and then we give it to the states and the localities with a whole bunch of requirements. A whole bunch of requirements. Well, we don't need a middleman. Education was always a state matter, and before that it was always a schoolhouse matter. And then every test, in every way, whether it's basic English, whether it's basic mathematics, whatever it is, the numbers have gone down for the last 25 years. And they're going down now precipitously. Say that 5 times. Precipitously. Because why? Because the federal government and the teachers' unions and these administrators, what did they do during the pandemic? They shut down. And so kids are way behind. And they haven't recovered, and they're not going to recover unless this thing's broken up. That's also why they oppose school choice and things like that. So this is all to the good what President Trump's doing there, what he's doing at the EPA, what he's doing everywhere. It's just fantastic, which is why they hate him, because the pushback is from the ruling class and their media. The media is part of the Washington, D.C. ruling class. They're pushing back. And then we have Bernie Sanders, the Marxist, out there with the Marxist propaganda. Ooh, the tax cuts for billionaires. You know, he never mentions Soros, does he? Or Gates. He never mentions the radical left-wing billionaires who've made their money producing absolutely nothing. What has Soros created? Nothing. He's a finance guy. What has Elon Musk created? A ton. He was involved in PayPal, which is why I think he made his first fortune, but obviously you know about Tesla, you know about SpaceX. He actually creates things rather than chaos the way Soros does. But the funny thing is they have more billionaires than we do. They have more billionaires than we do. And what about the billionaires and the billionaires? He wasn't worried about the billionaires when Kamala Harris raised, I think, $1 billion more than Donald Trump. Something to that effect. So they like billionaires, just certain billionaires, and so they use the Marxist propaganda to upset you. Oh, the oligarchs. Now, what's funny about that is for 10, 15, 20 years, I've been talking about the Democrat Party oligarchs. In fact, in this last election, I talked about the billionaire dark money oligarchs who are funding Kamala Harris's campaign. Well, Bernie must listen. We can't get the bastard on my radio show or on Blaze right here or on Fox. He's in hiding. AOC's running around saying, you know, if they invite me into these red state areas, into these Republican districts, even if it's R plus 25, I'd like to come. So I put out a proposal right on the internet, and I said, hey, I've got a national town hall meeting here 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. We reach into every single one of those Republican districts and yours, Democrat districts. Come on for an hour, except here we'll be debating you. And I said, Mr. Producer, for the 50th time, call her office and send them an email. We did, and we heard nothing. She doesn't even engage me. She doesn't even attack me. We hear nothing. We've done it with Bernie Sanders. Ooh, nothing. We do it with rhinos, too. We never hear from them either, but that's a whole other story. Some people say, life, liberty, and living. Why don't you ever have one of these big Democrats on? Well, they won't come on. We've invited Jamie the Red Raskin on. He likes to debate everybody, but he won't debate Mark. You know what Stephen A. Smith said to me? I don't like this, by the way. Nobody wants to debate you. Why not? Seriously. I'm just a stupid Blaze guy, radio guy, Fox guy, you know. Oh, he's just a host. Yes. I want to debate them. I'll debate any of them on any of these platforms for an entire hour. We can't get them. Remember when we used to try and get them, Mr. Producer? They wouldn't come. So I said, well, we're still going to do our show. We'll still get into information. So here's Bernie Sanders. Now, Bernie Sanders is a Stalinist. He's not merely a Marxist or a communist. He's a Stalinist. That's the worst kind of communist, because Stalin was a butcher. Are you saying Bernie's a butcher? Did I say he's a butcher? I don't know if he's a kosher butcher, if he's not a kosher butcher. No, seriously, I have no idea. That is, he's not. I have no idea what he would do if he had power, but he's not a butcher. That said, the kibbutz that he spent time at in Israel, did you know that? We've talked about this, was known as a Stalinist type kibbutz. Not just your garden variety left-wing red kibbutz. No, it was Stalinist. It was hardcore. Similar kibbutz, if not the same one that Thomas Friedman spent time in. He became a 400-time Pulitzer Prize winner at the Holocaust-denying New York Slimes. So there's Bernie Sanders. I had a proposal I made on radio last night. I don't think you guys heard it. I said to President Trump some time ago, I said, why would we want Canada as the 51st state? Can you imagine? It's more left-wing than California. They have 2 Democrat senators. They have a zillion Democrat members of that House. They'd flip the Senate. They'd flip the House. They got a massive welfare state. Then we'd have to deal with that. In fact, that comment must have been so brilliant, I heard it regurgitated on another channel. Let me put it that way, a TV channel. But then I came up with a better idea. Rather than just saying no to Canada, why don't we offer Canada to take Vermont? What's wrong with that idea? You can take the 2 damn senators. You can take their damn commie representative. You can take their maple syrup, the whole thing. Now, we want the conservatives, don't get me wrong. So you conservatives, you might have to do something like, move to Florida or Tennessee or some safe haven or something like that. The problem is you're outnumbered out there. And so we have this tiny state that is the population of an average county that throws us 2 Marxists, 3 Marxists, 2 in the Senate, 1 in the House. So I'm thinking to myself, isn't Vermont more like Canada? Yes. Isn't the weather more like Canada? Yes. So let's make nice, and we'll say, you know what? Canada, you're not the 51st state, but we'll give you one of ours. So we'll have 49 states. Now, that'll kind of screw up the flag and everything like that, but we'll figure it out. We're very innovative here. Elon Musk will figure something out.
For more, sign up for Levin TV.